and welcome to Ship of Fools, a nautical D&D actual play podcast. My name is Hannah McLean, and I am, as always, your dungeon master on this nautical adventure. Joining me today, I have Andy Latai,
Finn Fisher,
Lonnie Stevenson,
Regin Starkweather,
and Taylor Wallace.
Malachi Kassir.
And we are back. So, let's do a little recap, and then we can dive right in. So, last session, the boys attacked one of Lithios's flagships, specifically General Crevitas's ship, where it had been lingering near the back of the Lithios fleet. You fought everybody on board. I don't know a cooler way to describe that, although it was very cool, as you know. Hopefully, if you're listening to this, you listened to that battle and know how cool it was. Ending with Malachi decapitating General Crevitas, Regin blowing up the ship and killing anyone else who may have happened to still be alive on it, and Finn summoning an army of enormous shrimps led by Jonesy, a shrimp that hatched from Finn's mouth once several episodes ago.
Wow, congrats on finding the worst possible way to explain that.
The miracle of life, eh?
Which then proceeded to start tearing apart the other ships that were at the back of the fleet here, the ones that were supposed to be the reinforcements for when the front line was damaged. You watched from the sea as Lithios began to surrender, with white flags starting to go up all around the remaining ships. The noises of battle began to die down, but you all spotted the adventurer suspiciously soaring back to the center of Luola before the battle was truly and properly finished. You gave chase, making it to Luola and to the center where the king's court is. You ran into Ben, who stepped out to block your path and began to engage you in conversation, but only made it a couple lines through the conversation before being turned into a snail, which is now in Finn's pocket.
Classic Ben.
A classic Ben situation. You then made it to the king's court to find the adventurer standing over a bloodied, almost dead King Monanon. Upon seeing the three of you approach, she took to the skies. The bloodied king was able to tell you all to drink from the sacred pool in the center of the court, which you did, finding your strength restored and indeed enhanced as you all leveled up to level 14.
It would have been so crazy if that was just like juice that makes you dead.
That's it, the end. You put the king in the pool, hoping that this would revive him or at least keep him alive.
He just drowned.
Hey, you don't know. The king's owl familiar transformed into a griffin that offered itself for Malachi to ride.
Oh.
And where we left off, you guys were taking to the skies in pursuit of where you saw the adventurer go. So,
No one's ever offered themselves to me before.
I've tried.
that's where we will pick up. Do you all have anything you want to do or any spells you want to cast before taking to the sky?
Yeah!
Awesome.
After Malachi weeps a single tear as he pets the griffin's beautiful face, he turns to Finn and Regin. Finn, he knows, still has Death Ward on him. Mm-hmm. He grabs Finn's shoulder and he slaps a hand on Regin's shoulder and casts Death Ward on Regin as well.
Awesome.
And he says, "Stay close up there, but not too close."
Uh-huh. And guys, listen, I think if we're about to do this, we should do it in style, right? And I pull out our, at this point, torn and singed and damaged in every way you can imagine, AAA jackets.
Aww.
Wow.
Well, this simply won't do. And I pull out my dagger and I slash 2 giant holes in the back of mine. So I shrug it on and then I bust my wings out. I'm like, yep.
Awesome.
Ooh.
That's what I call style.
I put mine on, and I also have a similar issue with the massive trident slung over my back, but I don't bother slashing all. I just kind of fit it on there awkwardly.
You just see, like, the 3 points, like, ramming up through the collar.
Nurgle puts his little handkerchief on.
Well, we don't really have time for this, but I... Do not make me regret
Go on.
I cast Death Ward on you for a reason, okay? And Malachi takes off on the griffin.
Okay.
And guys, I just want to say that okay, we're going. All right.
Hang on, I still haven't gotten...
Malachi, wait up!
I haven't gotten clearance from the tower. Hang on. Hang on.
Yeah, the king weakly from the pool is like, Claire,
Thank you.
go.
All right, I'm going.
Malachi clearly does not know how to fly this griffin.
Oh, yeah.
I imagine it sort of flies
The
itself.
griffin's doing most of the work, fortunately. Yeah, exactly.
Malachi goes, yiggity up.
Now, imagine, if you will, that I don't remember what a griffin is. And that is an eagle lion?
Yes, although this one is an owl lion.
Sure.
So it's got like an owl head and wings and then the body of a lion. It has 12 AC, 59 hit points.
If she kills my griffin, that bitch is dead.
We'll see. The griffin, we're treating it like Find Greater Steed, so mostly Taylor will be controlling it, but if there's a situation where, like, Malachi gets knocked off or something like that, and the griffin needs to act independently, then I will. The griffin does seem to be like she knows what she's getting into here. Which is, as you all take to the sky, once you kind of, like, get up past the trees that cover this, like, glade that you're in, you can immediately see, a little ways away, like, rather than being directly over Luola, instead out over the sea, and about 200 feet in the air, is what looks like a golden sphere, just, like, hovering in the sky.
That can't be bad.
As you guys get closer, kind of keeping pace, Malachi riding this owl griffin, Regin with the dragon wings flapping, Finn, how does your flight look? Do you have, like, are you just hovering?
I think of it as sort of a Thor-style thing where I'm holding the trident out in front,
yeah.
And it's, like, carrying me along.
So Finn with no visible wings, but staying aloft with the trident held out in front of him. You all fly towards this golden sphere. As you get closer, you see that this golden sphere is actually constructed from small, whirling golden blades. These little slivers of light that look familiar. You remember,
I've walked through this shit before.
the stairway in Retfall's Tower all those weeks ago that the adventurer had blocked off with a wall of very similar-looking energy. Only now it is at this large, like, 30-foot radius, so like 60-foot diameter sphere. In the center, you can kind of see her past. It looks solid from a distance, but when you get closer, you can see through these whirling blades to the adventurer. Her clockwork wings are flapping slowly, keeping herself aloft. She's glowing. In fact, you could even say blazing, with a white-hot light that's coming from her eyes and from in between the gears of her wings. Her silver hair fans out, floating around her, as is the cloak that she's still wearing over her gleaming armor. She's looking down, as you approach, at the decaying battle beneath, watching as Lithios' ships with their white flags raised are either limping away from Luola or slowly sinking, as Erebraer's ships are beginning to make their way back to the safety of Luola's shores. As you all approach, she looks over at you and sort of holds out her arms, one of which is holding onto the hilt of this enormous longsword. And she smiles. With her free hand, she gestures down at the ships and says, "Look at all the good work we did. And this can be just the beginning."
Beginning of what?
Beginning of more. Beginning of more of evil falling.
More evil?
More evil?
I knew it!
More evil falling. Evil falling.
I know, lady. You try living with them.
We don't need to. I'm sure you came up here. I can see you look all ready for a battle. But we don't need to fight. I've said since the beginning we can be on the same side.
Yeah, we can. So what are you going to do about saying sorry for trying to assassinate their king? I point down to the Erebraer forces.
Gods need make no apologies. The path to divinity is a bloody one. Unfortunately, there's no other way. But it is for the best of everyone involved, I assure you.
Well, I assure you, I don't see any gods here.
Finn turns to Malachi and points at himself and is like, come on.
Not yet, Finn, no.
Demi, in training.
Okay.
She sort of, her mouth sort of flattens, and she says, there will always be those who deny what's right in front of them. I'd hoped that you were wise enough to know when it's time to fall in line, but perhaps I was giving you too much credit.
I've seen a real god before, and I'm wise enough to know the difference. Malachi tightens his grip on his axe.
Also, fall in line for what? You keep making these pronouncements. I want to hear specifics, like what's happening here.
Oh, you want like a policy plan?
Yeah.
I mean, we've been asking for that from the beginning.
I'll hear you out.
All right. She gestures down to the ships again, and she says, Lithios has lost here. It is true. But Erebraer would pull back from here rather than pressing the advantage. If this empire is to be truly brought to its knees, I want to see every city that they have on fire. I want to see every village abandoned. I want to see that power released into the world, to be there for those who would take it and use it to build something new.
So another empire?
Sounds like there won't be much of a world left.
I don't necessarily care to bring people under my control. I care simply to release everything. And if that involves death, then, well, like I said, the path to divinity is unfortunately paved in blood.
Right, but what are you releasing?
Power. The resources that Lithios controls, the magic that they have wielded to build their empire. You all were familiar with Dr. Retfall and with the High Priestess. They were merely the products of a system. There are other wizards who have been channeling the arcane arts to serve their purposes. There are other clerics who have been taking the power of the gods.
And what about...
I'm just seeking to shake things up a little, to let new forces rise.
It sounds to me like you are trying to differentiate yourself from the people you're claiming to take down, but here you are amassing all of the power for yourself.
When a wildfire clears a forest, there will be new life that grows.
God, she loves her metaphors, huh?
Yeah, but the wildfire dies out.
Well, alright, so the metaphor maybe, loses its steam at that point.
And water puts out fire! Is that something?
Imagine a wildfire that burns the forest and then keeps burning.
So then nothing new can grow.
And there's new growth.
No, your metaphor is
fine,
fundamentally flawed.
Fine, maybe it was a bad metaphor.
Maybe it's a bad premise.
We've got her now!
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not understanding dick or shit about this.
Because she's not making sense. She just wants power.
All right.
Yeah, I feel like she used to have a coherent philosophy, but now she's just sort of saying whatever, right?
This is all politician-esque bullshit. She doesn't mean anything that she's saying besides that she...
I assure you I mean everything I say.
It kind of sounds like she does mean the part about, killing millions, though.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure you mean that you want the power to shake things up on your accord, but there's no value to any of your words.
I already have the power that I need. At this point, with this victory, I've already come as far as I expected to come from here. I have already taken the power that I need to take here. From here, the only place to go is up. So either you are with me, or you're against me, and I'm not hearing you saying, oh, adventurer, you're so right, we should have, agreed with you this entire time, so if you wish to stand in the way of a god, be my guest.
Yeah, no, see, here's the thing, right, mate? You're saying that the only way to go from here is up, but, as far as where I'm flapping over here, the only way to go is down. And I'm going to fly forward 45 feet, and then I'm gonna thunderstep into her space.
Cool. I will let you do that outside of initiative, and then we will roll initiative. So you stop, like, just short of the blade barrier, and then there is a loud clap of thunder that reverberates out from where Regin was. Regin, you teleport inside this sphere, right next to the adventurer. Everyone go ahead and roll initiative.
Hi.
10.
Also 10.
Also 10!
What?
What?
Oh my god!
Wow. We're really on the same page after all.
Okay, tell me what your dexterity scores are.
You already know.
16 with a +3?
Also 16 with a +3.
Great. You two both roll again. Tell me what you get.
17.
1.
Oh, and Finn, Nurgle. I forgot to describe him flying with you.
He's not, like, perched on my shoulder, because we're in the air, so he's just sort of doing circles around the area.
Nice.
That's a 13 for his initiative.
Okay, so the first to act is the adventurer.
Shocking.
So the way that Regin, as you appear, basically as Regin starts charging, you see her, like, brace herself and get both hands on the hilt of her sword. And Regin, the second that you appear, she whips around and swings this longsword at you.
Oh, I forgot to say that I bonus action raged.
Yeah, that's fine. You can bonus action rage on your Thunderstep turn.
Nice.
I'll allow it. Are you arcane raging?
Yes.
Cool. That is a 23 to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so to start with, you take 10 half to 5 slashing damage, and then an additional 40 fire damage.
Yeah.
As the sword, as it swings towards you, like, lights up with a white flame as it cuts into you, Regin. For her second attack, she kind of, like, swings the sword, and then she's just gonna reach out with her hand and, like, grab the front of your shirt.
Bow, 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 bow.
Oh no, she's gonna take Regin's lunch money!
That is, 34 to hit with that attack.
Jesus.
You take 34 necrotic damage, and you are poisoned, and you feel this, Regin, you feel this, like, withering sensation that creeps up under your skin to your eyes and your ears. You are also considered blinded and deafened while you are poisoned in this way.
I yell to the other guys. I go, hey, good news, I figured out that she can do some stuff. Where'd you go?
Malachi sighs, longest deep sigh ever from the back of his griffin.
That is, however, the end of her turn. She does those two things, and then that is it. So, Nurgle. It's Nurgle's turn.
I will instruct Nurgle to just maintain his flight pattern and to be ready to jump in and help us.
Ah! He seems worried about this situation, but he's up there.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, Regin, that is you.
Okay, what does it take for me to break this condition?
So, at the end of your turn, you get a saving throw, or it's considered poisoned, so anything that cures poison would remove this.
Okay. Question the first. I'm assuming that attacks made whilst blinded and or deafened have dis.
Yep.
So, however, due to my feat Grudge Bearer, because I hate this bitch in particular, I automatically have advantage against her in the first round.
Yep.
So that would cancel. Could I then Reckless on top of that and get advantage?
No.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the way that it works is that advantage and disadvantage cancel each other out, but they don't stack. So you essentially have one source of each, and they cancel. So it's just a flat roll.
Cool. Whilst I exist in an inky, quiet void, I want to think real hard with my brain about any information about her that we'd, like, fought, like, from fighting her in the past, any information that we can remember, like, any of her, like, tricks that she has up her sleeve, and then,
well, she's got a big, dangerous sword.
like, combining that with my knowledge, having met several gods in the meantime, like...
Yeah. You can make a history check and add whatever Grudge Bearer gives you.
Nice. So I have double my proficiency bonus to this.
Nice.
28 history.
Oh my god. Beautiful. Yeah, so you just looking at her, you kind of immediately get a, like, oh, she's learned some new tricks since our last meeting. This is a very different set of abilities. Frankly, it feels like at the tower, she was exhibiting just, like, very generic celestial abilities. She was doing radiant damage, she had a sword, she had blade barrier, she had, like, very, very basic celestial stuff. She seems to have, like, gained more individuality at this point. The fire is new, the, like, horrible poison that's blinding you is new, and this is much more, like, kind of warlike and scary, and so it's like, oh, okay. Probably you're picking your alignment here, or making your alignment more clear.
Guys, I think she might be neutral.
Yeah, it checks out.
But I mean, you know, you would assume that she has to concentrate on any spells she casts, same as anyone would. You figure that probably, I mean, for all of her talking about how she already has what she needs and you're standing in the way of a god, and, like, you can tell she's not quite there to the mark of divinity yet, in the way that the Keeper was, in the way that the Lurker was. Like, there is something, this is a very, very powerful adversary, but you're like, oh, you're killable. You're not all that you think
Please,
you are.
I've been poisoned by gods before, and this is a cheap invitation.
Yeah. Oh, I guess the other thing that you would assume that'll be useful for you to know is that there might be some sort of a lot of gods and near god kind of celestials are especially hard to kill because they can kind of automatically heal themselves. But you know that there are certain types of damage, types of attacks that can stop that from happening. And sort of, you can't zoom in on what that is yet, but you know to kind of, like, be looking out for it, and that it might be something that would possibly make sense with as the antithesis of what she seems to be doing right now.
All right. So I am going to make 2 flat longsword attacks using 9 lives, my cursed longsword.
Beautiful.
First one is going to be a 26 to hit.
26 hits, yeah.
And that's going to be 9 slashing damage.
Oh, so she's bloodied, right, Hannah?
Right.
No.
Plus 6 necrotic.
Okay.
And it is magical slashing damage.
The necrotic, you can see, does not seem to be affecting her as much as it typically would.
Well, I can't see that, can I?
Well, yeah, no. That's true. As you could see, if you could see.
I'm just...
Regin sinks his sword into some meat and hopes it's the right meat.
I'm just... Yeah. Okay, and then second... 16 to hit.
16 does not hit.
Fair enough. Alright, and then I save?
Yeah, go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. Nat 20.
Wow.
Plus 7.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So after I managed to nick her, and there's presumably a little bit of perhaps golden blood on the blade.
Yes.
I'm gonna fucking lick that shit. And make her watch as my eyes focus again, and I'm like, found you.
Yeah, you managed to strike with this black-bladed sword, and you manage to kind of, like, catch her, like, right on the arm, and there is, like, this small little, like, trail of blood, and as your eyes clarify, you see that she almost looks, like, slightly surprised by it, and then she, like, focuses angry. You see her expression hardens as she gets ready to attack you again. Okay, great job, Regin. The adventurer is going to take a legendary action. Finn and Malachi, are you guys... how close to each other would you say you are?
I thought we all flew up kind of together and then Regin zoomed in.
Yeah, I'd say 10 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're in aura range, so she's probably got a clear shot.
Yeah. She, like, points her finger past Regin outside the whirling blades.
Malachi turns to look where she's pointing.
You turn to look just in time to see the world explode around you. She, with a legendary action, is going to cast Fireball.
Ooh.
So, I need dexterity saving throws from you two. Aura of Warding does apply. This is a spell.
Fireball.
16 save.
22 on my save.
Okay. Yeah, so Malachi fails, Finn passes.
I'm too wet for fire to harm me.
So you would take what would be 30 damage, and then I think it halves to 15 and then to 7 for Finn, and it halves to 15 for Malachi.
Yeah.
Haha.
Finn, you cover your eyes as this fireball comes in, feeling most of it curve around you as Malachi's sort of like aura shelters you, and your own inherent sliminess protects you from the bulk of this fire. However, you do feel yourself getting just like a little bit singed, and as you are, you suddenly remember the snail in your pocket. All of a sudden,
he was in my pocket. He was shielded.
In episode 30, whatever it was, we established that a fireball goes in pockets.
Man, I gotta stop doing this.
Ben expands back to his full self, just like right there in the air next to you, Finn. He sort of like briefly grabs, it just like instinctively like grabs at Finn's clothes.
Ew.
But it is like certainly not enough to hold him up. You see as he kind of like looks around, taking in the situation, and there's like this sort of like frozen moment, Finn, where he's just kind of in the air holding on to you. And then he just lets go and drops toward the ocean 200 feet below. As he falls, he sort of like looks back up at you, Finn, and you see him kind of like, he glances over at the adventurer and at the whirling golden blades, back up at you and at Malachi. He gives you just like this little salute and a little wink, and then he just drops toward the ocean. Finn and Malachi can both give me perception checks.
Yeah, Malachi doesn't know what to make of this. 14.
Nat 20.
Wow.
So 24.
Okay. So Malachi, you just sort of like see him fall. Finn, you catch that like right before he hits the water, his speed drastically slows, and you can kind of see that he like slows down and then sort of like gently drops into the water with a small splash rather than like a massive one going up.
Can I bring up Jonesy and my brood's presence in the harbor?
You can.
And the potential for their interest to be piqued by a falling morsel, especially after I directly told them to, and I quote, feast on the fallen last episode.
Yeah, they didn't hear you correctly. They said feast on the falling, and so they're like, oh.
That's what I'm counting on.
You can see the massive bodies of the shrimps below. There's a lot going on. I will kind of, behind the table, make some luck checks and some rolls for Ben, and you, Andy, can let me know if you touch base with your shrimp afterward. But for now, Finn, you just gain, surprisingly, in spite of yourself, you gain a D10 of Bardic Inspiration from that little wink that he threw you on the way down.
What is this guy's game, man?
This guy's deal. Maybe he wants to mate with you and make delicious air water babies.
So.
No, probably not that.
That was her legendary action. Finn, now it's your turn.
Okay, can Finn tell, was Ben attempting to give Finn Bardic Inspiration there, or was that just like you being creative with mechanics?
You can make an insight check, actually.
10.
Okay. It did look deliberate, and you could tell that, like, his, like, looking back and forth was, like, assessing the situation. He assessed the situation, and then he gave you, on purpose, a Bardic Inspiration and dropped into the ocean. You can't draw any conclusions from that with a 10, but that's what you get.
There may be hope for him yet.
He just wants this to be the most dramatic fight possible.
Alright, that's your turn.
Alright, let's get into it then. Okay, Finn is going to fly closer to the sphere, so he's like 20 feet from the edge.
Okay.
And then he extends his trident, and he says, "You want to see what a god's power looks like, Madam the Adventurer?"
I've seen what the power of plenty of gods look like, but be my guest, Mr. Fisher.
You haven't seen this one, because I only just got it when I leveled up! And I am going to use Unleash the Depths on the interior of this sphere, specifically the Fury option. which means that my patron tears through reality, manifesting a measure of his thalassic grandeur, and a barrage of spectral tentacles issue forth and strike the adventurer.
Oh my god.
So she needs to make a dexterity save, as the sky just opens up like someone carved a hole in the air.
16, actually.
And that's a failure!
She's gonna burn a legendary resistance. She will. So she will go ahead and make herself save on that.
Well, she's still gonna take half.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so all these tentacles suddenly appear in the sky, just a writhing mass of slime and suckers, and smash her for 14 damage.
Okay.
But it looks cool, and it's cold damage.
Cool. So you see all of these tentacles start slamming against her as she, like, ducks around and kind of, like, tucks her wings in to avoid them. But Regin, you're close enough to see that the frost is sort of, like, gathering around the tips of her wings and sort of, like, clinging to it. Yeah, cool. She takes that damage.
And how about one more for good measure?
Wow.
And as all these tentacles fade back into the hole in reality, one remains. And it's gonna give her a little smack. 24 to hit.
That hits, yeah.
6 cold damage.
Okay. Some damage is being done.
And then I just stand there. Well, I guess I don't stand there. I float there. And then I just float there menacingly with my trident still pointed at her.
Nice.
That was the smallest fraction!
She kind of, like, is batting away the tentacle that's still, like, hovering there.
Does it get her all slimy?
A little bit, yeah. It's kind of gross. She doesn't seem to like it.
Hannah, can I also say that while we were trading barbs floating up here, that Finn did turn on Detect Magic?
Oh, yeah. I don't think you would note anything particularly crazy. The blade barrier is magic. The, like, adventurer is sort of glowing a little bit with divine magic. You've got all the expected magic that you and your pals are holding on to. The one thing that I think you would notice are, like, a few, like, particular hot spots in, like, the adventurer's pockets that you sort of are like, oh, she's probably carrying cubes around with her.
Ah.
She's got snails in there.
Yeah, or they're snails.
Back up, Ben.
Malachi, that's your turn.
Wow. So, how far outside the sphere were Finn and I?
Let's say 30 feet.
Okay, so she's 60 feet away from me?
Yes.
Okay.
The griffin has an 80-foot fly speed and can dash with its own turn.
Wow, I forgot I'm on a guy.
Yeah. The griffin should have gotten hit with the fireball, too, so let me... Well, that's a total of 12.
No.
But she takes half of the total because of aura boarding.
No, my girly, I need you. If this is too much, let me know before we fall, Malachi whispers into her ear, with his hand at the ready for lay on hands if need be, and we're going to go through the dagger cloud.
Okay. She gives a little coo, like an owl. Ooh, ooh. Oh. I can't make an owl sound even less than I can't make a seagull sound. Just imagine it in your heads.
Hoot!
Okay, you go through the blade barrier. That's a dexterity saving throw for you and the griffin. She does pass that one.
Okay, well, for me, I rolled 18.
18 unfortunately fails. So, total of 35 damage, which you take half of and the griffin takes a quarter of, because this is spell damage. So you take 17, the griffin takes 8.
Wow, my griffin has more HP left than Regin.
Wow. And then you are through the blade barrier. Yep, and the adventurer and Regin are right there.
Malachi doesn't even flinch. He maintains eye contact with her the whole time they blast through that barrier.
A dagger gets stuck in Malachi's nostril for a second.
Absolutely not. Yeah, Malachi whispers to his little griffin, and we zoom through the blade barrier, and as we zoom towards her, I'm like, didn't work last time either. And I'm going to attack the bitch.
Nice.
25 to hit.
That hits.
And I am just going to divine smite her on this hit.
Nice.
I guess we'll start off with the strongest we can go. We'll start off with a 3rd level. And You know, it's not much, but I'll infuse it with, what do we think? Cold?
She didn't like cold.
Yeah. 41, and 2 of that is cold damage. But also
Nice.
a lot of it is radiant, if that matters.
No, actually, it doesn't matter. You can give me it all together. But you do see that the radiant does similar to the cold, and you can see the light from your axe, the kind of like magical light that you brought from the lighthouse, sort of spreads out, and you can see it sort of like pushing back some of this burning radiance that's coming off of her.
Yeah.
And again, like the cold, sort of sticking around her wings. Okay?
That was my first attack. I suppose that a 17 won't hit.
No, unfortunately, a 17 will not hit.
That's unfortunate.
You get in this one good swing with your axe, and kind of like really you see her sort of like stumble back from it a little bit. And then she like flaps her wings and manages to get up her sword to block your second strike. She will
Realize the error of her ways.
No.
Wow, it was that easy.
Good try, though.
Can I roll to teach her a very special lesson about respecting others?
No. I think she's not going to use another legendary action. She is just going to go ahead and take her turn, which is next. So, she is going to go ahead and just attack Malachi. She, like, gets her sword up to block your axe, and then she's going to bring the sword kind of swinging back around, and she says, like, through her teeth, "With Lithios knocked to its knees, this sea will fall into chaos. If power's up for grabs, what's the harm in grabbing it?" And she'll make 2 attacks.
See, that's like totally different than what you were saying earlier, which was, I want to destroy the world.
She doesn't have consistent values, Finn. Ignore everything she says.
Have you written any of this down? It might help.
Malachi, that is a 30 to hit.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You take 17 slashing and 30 fire.
Okay, then I am going to use my reactive resistance, and I am going to give myself resistance to fire damage. So 32 total then. As she swings at me, Malachi activates his scale from the Chromatic Dragon and gives himself fire resistance.
Nice.
And he doesn't break her gaze.
Okay, she'll make a second attack. Oh, I rolled the exact same thing, another 30. Do you still have the resistance, or was it just that one hit?
That instance of damage.
Okay, so that time you take 22 slashing damage and 26 fire damage.
Boy, I'm glad I stayed out here.
Okay, that's not awesome.
My ancestral protectors, my little bronze baby dragons, are gonna give resistance to damage to if she hits somebody who isn't me. So she's hitting Mal, so he gets resistance, whatever's going on there.
Hell yeah.
Okay. The little dragons, kind of like, as she swings down on Malachi, the little bronze dragons that are circling Regin's head sort of like spread out their wings, and deflect some of the fire away from Malachi's face.
My babies lay down their lives for you.
And I would happily return the favor.
They're incorporeal. They'll be fine.
That's the end of her turn. That is Nurgle, if you'd like him to do anything. Otherwise, Regin.
Business as usual, Nurgle.
Okay. Regin's turn, then. Actually, I'm so sorry. She's going to take a legendary action after Nurgle's turn.
Yeah, that's fine.
And she is going to use a legendary action teleport. And she is going to teleport outside of the blade barrier, like basically right next to Finn.
Oh, hey!
So you say that thing about being glad that you stayed outside, and she just like, in a second, she blinks away from Malachi and Regin and is standing right outside next to Finn.
What's up?
Now that's Regin's turn.
Oh, fuck, I can't believe you've done this. How far away from me is she?
I said I was 20 feet outside the circle.
So it's 50 feet?
Yeah.
And is she, like...
Oh, let me roll for concentration. Hold on. Let me make sure that the blade barrier's still there. Yeah, it's still up.
Damn.
Is she in melee with Finn?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, I am going to growl, and I'm going to cast Lightning Bolt in a 5-foot line directed to smoke directly through her and not through Finn.
Yep. Doable.
And my dexterity save, if you please.
15.
Fails.
Nice. She will let that fail stick. She's not going to bother to resist it.
Damn. Just hope she's not resistant to lightning damage. That'll be embarrassing. 32.
Beautiful. She's not resistant. You see that it just kind of, like, blasts into her, and she, like, glances angrily back at you, away from Finn.
I put my middle finger up at her.
Great. Do you have anything else you'd like to do?
A single hair on Finn's head gets singed, and he pinches it out to stop the smoking.
Alright, I'm gonna take my movement to fly up to the wall after casting Lightning Bolt, but not go through it yet.
Okay. Yeah, you are, like, hovering on the other side of the blade barrier. Okay, awesome. That is Finn's turn. Finn, the adventurer is in melee with you as she's looking down at you. And she is, by the way, like, in her sort of godly form. She was always, like, even when you first met her, she was tall, but she seems to have, like, grown a few inches as she's gotten more and more sort of larger than life power-wise. And she sort of positioned herself in the air, so she's looming over you, which feels unnecessary, but there she is.
I fly up a foot higher, so now I'm above her.
You get yourself at eye level. She says, all of this talk about my inconsistent pitch, or whatever you were calling it. I thought that you were the son of the lurker in the deep, and yet here you
Still
are
am.
concerning yourself with... What concerns you about what I do? I have no quarrel with the lurker in the deep. I'm perfectly happy to let him continue to rule the seas, or whatever it is that you're doing.
Let him?
Well, A, how dare you say you would let the lurker do anything? B, I don't believe that you'd be perfectly content with that. And C, we haven't talked in a while, right? And let me tell you something. The ocean goes in many different directions. A current that is one way one day may be different the next year. And I have realized something. It's all the ocean. Right? The sea, it's not just what's under the waves, it's what's on top of them, too. It's all the ocean. We all live in it. It's all part of the cycle. I have a write-up of this whole thing. If you want to read it, I expound on my thoughts. But basically, I've decided it's all ocean. Which also means that the lurker has dominion over everything, which is pretty great in my book. Everyone lives by the grace of the sea. Everyone gets their life from the sea. Everyone relies on it. And that means everyone is a subject of the king of the ocean. And that makes you an interloper. Unless, actually, amendment, unless you stay at this elevation forever. Then I actually think it's whatever, that's outside the sphere of influence.
I won't.
Oh. Well, okay. Then you're trespassing against the depths, so... And let me show you what happens when you threaten my subjects. And I'm going to cast Arms of Hadar up at a 5th level.
Ooh,
Nice.
So she needs to make a strength saving throw.
Oh boy.
As once again, a huge writhing mass of tentacles appears, this time bursting out of me.
Oh, that's a 10.
Ha! A fail.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so as this fresh batch of tentacles attacks her, she takes 29 necrotic damage as the cold and the slime of the depths envelops her. And also, she can't take reactions until her next turn.
Okay.
And so Finn, no longer worried about opportunity attacks, is going to fly away.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's fine.
And, question, in this big sphere of whirling blades, is there a 1-inch space between blades that one might be able to squeeze through?
There's gotta be.
Like, technically no, but I'll allow it. I think that's very funny.
Perfect! So Finn says that, he unleashes a wave of tentacular force, and then just flies back at the sphere, compresses into a tiny little string of flesh to squeeze through the blades unharmed.
Awful.
And back to himself. And then he turns to the adventurer and says, also I can do that now!
I look over at Malachi and I'm like, Do you ever feel like we're, like, in slightly different genres? Like, do you ever, like, feel like we're each kind of doing a different sort of thing?
Literally 100% of the time, Regin.
She looks a little bit nauseated by watching you spaghettify. Cool. Anything else, Finn?
So I fly into the sphere, and I guess I will go in, not quite to the center of the sphere, but part way there, and move my tentacle so that it's now near where Regin, Malachi, and I are.
Okay, awesome. That is the end of Finn's turn.
I have like 10 different ways to hit you with tentacles. You better surrender now.
She is going to, like, turn her gaze on Finn, I think, and she just, like, this is a legendary action. Her eyes start glowing, like, extra bright. Finn, will you make a wisdom saving throw for me?
Oh, she's jealous that she can't spaghettify.
You are in Malachi's aura.
19?
19 passes because this is a legendary action. So you feel yourself, like, about to ignite. You feel your flesh, getting very hot. But you manage to, again, you're just slimy enough. The fire just sort of, like, slides off of you.
I'm too wet to burn.
That is Malachi's turn.
Well, she's outside, and we're all in here. I'll wait for her. And while I'm waiting for her, I think I might as well cast Protection from Evil and Good, right?
I was gonna say maybe heal me a bit, but...
Oh, true.
For the first time in my ever life, I am saying maybe heal me a little bit.
You do need that.
Now that I'm on my second life, I have a new appreciation for them.
You want 20 or 30, bro? Or you want 25?
Yeah, give me 25, I think.
Okay. I lay on hands Regin for 25 HP.
Beautiful. Okay.
So with my bonus action, I will cast Blinding Smite on my axe and get ready for hopefully hitting her soon.
Okay, cool. She is going to take her turn. Well, she's stuck outside her own blade barrier.
Thanks for the blade barrier!
I don't know, I feel like the god usually is inside the glowing orb, so I don't know what this bitch is doing.
Guys, if we stay in here long enough, we'll get squatters' rights.
It's very funny. You can see through and see her just kind of, like, hovering outside as she's clearly trying to decide.
Hey, Finn, can you make us a throne?
I minor illusion a very small throne.
I think, so she's just gonna charge through it. She's just gonna charge through. Let's see if she passes her own save.
I hope she fails. That would be so fun.
She does, actually, because her dex saves are not great, and her own spell save DC is very high, so...
Idiot.
She fails with an 18.
Get your own ass.
Oh, there's a blade barrier there. Did you not see it?
Takes a total of 34 slashing damage, but does not seem at all phased by it.
Doesn't even care.
Although she is starting to, from all of the various wounds that have been inflicted, you can see she's bleeding more of this golden blood. And actually, she does regenerate a little bit at the top of this turn.
Ugh.
So before she made it through the blade barrier, you saw her sort of, like, gather her strength a little bit. The glowing from her wings got brighter. Cool, so she charges through. She will attack Finn, because she hasn't attacked him yet.
No!
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, she's gonna do that.
She really is jealous of my spaghettification.
Spaghettification can't save you here. That is a 26 to hit.
Yeah.
So you take 19 slashing damage and 33 fire damage.
I am using my Gift of the Gem Dragon.
Okay, awesome.
So she needs to make a strength saving throw.
Okay.
As she cuts into me doing a extreme amount of damage, and Finn is suddenly very afraid.
I am rolling worse for her saves than her bonuses deserve. That's a failure. Yeah, 13.
All right. So she takes 8 force damage and is pushed 10 feet away from me.
Okay.
Which, does that push her into the blade barrier?
Yeah, that can push her into the blade barrier. Yeah. So I will, oh, there we go. 25 on her save, so takes 18 from the blade barrier.
You gotta watch out for the blades!
She then kind of like...
Sorry, I guess this is your first time doing an ascendancy?
looking annoyed, she raises up her hand, kind of like makes a fist and pulls it down and dissipates the blade barrier.
Aww.
So that she can then charge Finn again. And she will make her second attack.
Oh, I regret provoking her now.
Ooh, that's a 32 to hit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that'll just do it.
18 slashing and 26 fire.
Okay, my tentacle is going to interpose and chop that in half.
Thank God.
Okay, cool.
Because she really telegraphs this sword swing, so my tentacle just gets in between us.
Perfect.
I'm still standing strong with 2 health.
Wow.
I think I'm also going to use my reaction to intercept. So Finn,
Okay.
subtract another 15.
So 29, which then gets halved to 14.
All right.
Yeah, so she dissipates the blade barrier and comes charging back in toward Finn, but this time you guys are ready, and as she swings down, the tentacle comes in from one side, and Malachi's axe comes in from the other side, and Finn kind of gets clipped with some of the fire that blasts off this sword, but manages to avoid the brunt of the attack.
Oh man, my hair keeps getting singed today.
I thought you were supposed to be too wet for that.
You'd think.
Okay, that's the end of her turn. She will stay in melee with Finn. That is Nurgle, and then Regin.
Nurgle, continue the holding pattern. This whole time, he's just flying in circles around the fight.
He's getting dizzy.
See if you can call in a bird strike on her. Foul up her gears.
Shit in her eyes.
Okay, I am fucking discheesed with the way this shit is going, and I don't like this, and I'm like, you know, I feel like we're a little bit outnumbered here, even though there's more of us here, but there's, you know what I mean?
Outgunned.
Yeah, I feel like a bit outgunned here, so,
Yes, it's me and also all of my followers.
Finn looks around.
Yeah, well, they're all in the ocean, so that's kind of back on our turf, I think.
Are they? I can see invisible people, actually. They're not here, I can guarantee.
Point being, let's bring out the bigger guns! And I cast the 5th level spell, Summon Draconic Spirit.
Awesome.
And a big fuck-all dragon appears
Yeah.
in this place.
Should I ride that instead?
Okay, so here's the irony, though. So for mechanics reasons, this is going to be a gem dragon.
Hey!
But for flavor reasons, it looks like a bronze dragon.
Yeah.
Wow, Finn whispers. It's the perfect representation of the bond between me, a rider, and Regin, my dragon. I'm glad you haven't forgotten.
I'm not gonna touch that.
Yeah, Regin, your hands tighten around your hammer, or your sword, actually, that you're wielding right now. Lightning starts sparking all around you. You guys see Regin's eyes kind of like glowing with this lightning sparking out the sides. And you see that like behind him, unfurling its wings just out of thin air, is this huge kind of like vaguely transparent but very much present bronze dragon. Just like coming into being directly behind Regin, and it like tips its head back and lets out this loud roar.
That's for us, right? That's our side.
Oh no, this is just for me. I've decided, you know, honestly, we've been dealing with so much divinity and godhood and stuff, I thought, like, I might as well chuck me hat into the ring, so,
No.
rawr, bitch. So, a cool thing about this big fuck-all dragon is that, it's gonna move on my initiative, after me, and we have a shared resistance, so I am going to share its ability to resist necrotic damage for the time being.
Nice.
And it has 2 rend attacks and then a breath weapon. So I'm gonna go ahead and have it do that.
Would be my guess.
Nat 1 on that first one.
It's still trying to like get its bearings in this world.
All right. 29 to hit.
That will hit, yes.
And 10 piercing damage.
Because it's a spell, I'm gonna say it's magical piercing. I don't actually know if that's the rule, but that's what I'm saying.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And then breath weapon is going to be thunder damage.
Okay.
So I'm gonna need a dex save from her.
Man, 14.
Does not save. She's gonna take an additional 6 thunder damage.
Beautiful.
Which ain't much, but ain't nothing.
You're chipping away.
And most importantly, I am resistant to necrotic damage now.
Cool. She's going to use a new legendary action.
Uh-oh.
You see that she sort of like, as this dragon like breathes this thunder, you see her sort of like drift back a little bit. And then she just like flaps her wings once and seems to kind of like grow even taller, and the light exuding from her gets even brighter. And you guys can see that she is like, even though you've been doing a lot of damage, the fight is starting to wear on, and she still looks like pretty fine. And you guys are starting to really feel the impact of your wounds. I need each of you to please make a wisdom saving throw for me.
Oh no.
With aura.
19.
Dirty 20.
At 22.
Nice. They all save, which means that you don't take the psychic damage that you can feel kind of like creeping in around your minds.
Trust me, you don't want any part of what's in here. And Finn taps his head.
You guys have been in worse shape and in worse situations before. You've still got this.
Oh yeah, we have.
Finn, that's your turn.
So she seems to be vulnerable to cold damage, or just affected normally by it?
From what you guys can tell, cold and radiant seem to stop her regeneration. But she's not vulnerable to them.
Okay, is she still in melee with me?
Yes.
Jeez. Okay, so once again, Finn is faced with this imposing figure, and he's lost a little bit of his bravado along with the majority of his health. Funny how that happens.
That'll do ya.
So Finn is going to cast Mental Prison on her.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah!
What kind of save do I need to make?
Intelligence.
Okay. She actually has a very good intelligence save. Yeah, she passes. That's a 26.
Finn raises up his hand, is like, I'll show you, I'll banish you to a horrific prison, the likes of which you'll never, are you...
No.
Oh, she passed it.
I'm still here.
Man, well, I was just gonna be in a illusory prison anyways. But she still takes some damage.
Ooh.
So she still takes 30 psychic damage. As my mental prison can't truly take hold, but I do stab at her brain with my unintelligible, horrific mind.
Damn.
And then I resummon my tentacle right in front of me and have it bat her in the face.
Okay.
With a 29 to hit.
That hits. Damn, the tentacle's killing it.
And 6 cold damage.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
And then I am also going to pull my potion out of my pocket and guzzle that down.
Nice.
So I pop up my tentacle, quickly turn around, chug the potion, and then turn back around, and I'm staring up at the adventurer, my cheeks still full of healing potion as I swallow. It's a very comically loud lol.
Awesome. That is Malachi's turn.
Alright, going in on this bitch. Malachi sees her attack his little buddies, Finn, and I don't remember if she attacked anyone else this
The
turn.
other one, what's his name?
I don't know if she attacked Regin this turn, I forget.
I think she just attacked Finn.
Alright, yes, I'm going to attack her. I hit with a 23, right?
Yes, 23 does hit.
And I am going to Divine Smite her at a second level, I suppose. But I do have Blinding Smite up, so she's getting hit with that bitch as well. Right, 56 damage on that hit.
Nice.
God.
Most of it radiant, with a little bit of cold thrown in there at the end. And she does have to save against Blinding Smite. As my axe digs into her, it flares with the radiant light, even brighter than normal.
She fails and is going to use a legendary resistance on that one. She does not want to be blinded.
Fine.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go for her again, naturally.
Okay.
I think that's the same, right? Another 23 to hit.
Nice, yeah, that hits.
Might as well smite her again, I guess. And 30 damage on my second hit.
You bloody her.
Ooh.
the owl griffin kind of brings you around the side of this massive dragon that is now, like, occupying a large amount of the space.
We give it a very careful birth.
You go around the dragon and kind of right next to where the adventurer is still looming over Finn. You get her attention on you with the first strike that swings into her, this blast of radiant light that nearly blinds her. You see it kind of like the stars in her eyes that she has to blink away. Just in time for you to bring your axe around for a second time. And this time you get it in like between her armor. And you feel the blade drive home. And you see that like this really staggers her. So far it's just been mostly like surface level wounds as far as she's concerned. But this time as the blade goes in, you and she kind of both look down to see normal human red blood leaking out beside the golden. And you see her sort of like...
Doesn't look very divine.
She looks down and then she like looks back up at you, Malachi. And she's like, "It won't matter when I win."
I don't see how your false divinity is gonna win over this, and my axe glows brightly after that strike.
She just kind of like snarls at you, and reaches her free hand into her pocket, and you see she pulls out these 3 cubes. And she is just going to kind of like hurl them over your head.
Oh, free cubes!
Out to the sky. Yeah, you're like, oh, sick! But then, instead of falling, each of the 3 of them just kind of like hovers there, spinning in the air. And then you see this kind of like glowing form kind of like shape itself around the cubes. Almost ends up looking like, they end up looking like birds, like these little like winged, glowing creatures that are very clearly made of just like pure magical energy with these like glowing red eyes. And all 3 of them let out this like piercing shriek as they are just kind of hovering in the air there.
Oh, we're good on birds, thanks.
Okay, now if you have a bonus action or anything you'd like to do, go ahead.
So, presuming that we now have 4 foes to contend with, I think I might as well compelled duel her.
Cool.
Malachi sees her throw these out like she's trying to create more allies for herself, and I turn back to her, and I will compel duel her.
Awesome. That's a 21, unfortunately.
Fine.
Yeah. That is her turn.
Lovely.
Lovely. Ooh! She recharges her horrid touch.
Oh!
So, as Malachi tries to compel duel her, she is just going to, like, reach out Malachi and kind of, like, grab the... I think she'll actually, like, grab your wrist right, like, above where you're holding the axe.
Ew. You feel slimy.
That's my thing!
22 to hit.
Stop trying to steal everyone else's things. Jesus Christ, the cubes weren't enough for you?
You take 42 necrotic damage.
Fucking pervert creep.
You are poisoned for 1 minute. While poisoned in this way, the target is also blinded and deafened.
But Malachi feels another slimy touch on his other arm.
I like this one for now.
As my tentacle gets in the mix and halves that damage.
Awesome. Yeah, the adventurer's touch isn't even that
with
slimy.
With a soothing, slimy pat.
For some reason, the slimy pat is nicer than just a hand.
The problem is you don't know how to fully commit to anything.
For not being slimy enough?
Yes. If you're gonna be slimy, you have to be slimy. Are you going to hold on to any of your values in your...
What? Being slimy was never a value for me.
Wow. And to think I used to look up to you.
Yeah, well, lots of things apparently were never a real value for you either.
Shut up. She's going to attack you with her sword.
My tentacle dissolves into a soothing balm on Malachi.
With advantage, now that you're blinded, she gets advantage.
Oh, I forgot that I'm blinded.
That is a natural 20.
Oh, come on!
I will say, however, that her stat block, upon being bloodied, has shifted slightly. So this is not quite the same attack that you've been getting hit with previously. So you take 32 slashing, and then 39 force damage.
Yeah, I'm gonna go down because I don't have my Lightfall tattoo.
Whoa!
So, with this time as the sword comes around, it is with just like a blast of pure concentrated magic rather than the fire that's been leaking out of it before. And Malachi, blinded by this poison, can't get his axe up in time to protect himself. Finn and Regin, you guys watch as Malachi drops. I'm gonna say that the griffin is, because it is like a wise enough creature, it sort of positions its weight so that you kind of slump forward on the griffin rather than toppling into the ocean below.
Thank goodness.
But you are unconscious.
Oh god. Oh, that's not good.
I feel unsupervised.
Okay. Wow, that's exciting. That is Nurgle's turn, if you'd like him to do anything, Finn.
Stay ready to swoop, bud.
Ah!
What's your read on these magic birds?
Ah!
How I'm assuming they're foe, but...
Ah! He says bad vibes.
Yeah, okay.
This is the cube birds' turns. The cubes. I'm just gonna call them the cubes. It's the cubes' turns. So you see this first cube, which is like a golden color. The golden one and then this other one, which is black, are both going to drift over towards Finn, and then this, like, silver one drifts over towards Regin. And you see, like, functionally at the same time, all three of them just, like, out of what could sort of be called beaks, but also, like, a little bit looks more like a toothy maw, almost like what the, like, lurker had, or some other deep-sea creatures you've seen had, just this mouth-type thing on their, magic-crafted bodies.
Oh my god, have you ever had an original idea?
Is going to, just, like, spew out this, almost like a gas, although Finn, what hits you especially is, like, thicker than that, almost more like a sludge. I need a con save and a whiz save from Finn, and I need a dex save from Regin.
Dirty 20 on con.
Nice.
16 on wisdom.
Okay.
19 on dex.
Cool, beautiful. You all passed. Just barely on that wisdom. Finn, you feel this, like, the gold cube spews out this sludge that you feel kind of, like, sinking into your bones and slowing you down. And the black one kind of is emitting this, like, high-pitched buzzing sound that makes you want to just kind of, like, cover your ears and stop participating in the fight. But you manage to kind of, like, shake both off. Regin, you get, like, a whole bunch of, like, wires shoot out at you. I'm calling them wires, but they're, like, again, very clearly made of this, like,
filaments?
Solid, yeah, these little filaments, but they're not, like, made of metal or anything like that. They're made of the same stuff as the cube, which is basically just pure concentrated magic. Kind of shoot out towards you and try to restrain you, but you manage to, like, scoot back out of the way just in time. That's the end of their turns. That is, Regin.
You had us go through all those quests to get the cubes just so you could do that?
They're also in my airship. Regin was there. He knows. These are just the spare ones.
Yeah, I was there.
Thank you.
I peed in some weird places.
Oh, why? Unnecessary. Hey.
He does that on our ship, too.
And while I'm here, what exactly is your stake in this, Mr. Starkweather? Is this just revenge, or are you just here for a good time?
It's not about revenge anymore. What did I say your name was? Bethany? Is that what I named you? Bethany, here's the thing. You know, I've come to learn that it's only so far that running on toxic fuel will get you, you know? Like, I spent years, I lost years of my life just running on hatred and the desire for vengeance, and, you know, the only person I was really ever hurting for it was myself. You know, there was nobody I could possibly hate more than I ever hated myself. But, you would be the first to kill me, even if you do it here and now. And so I guess I'm here because I found a reason to live. And I'm gonna stab her with my sword.
Nice.
Finn wipes a tear from his eye.
21 to hit?
Yes.
We got 10 slashing damage.
Nice.
Plus 4 necrotic damage. And then we will do it again. 22 to hit.
Nice. Also hits.
6. And another 4 necrotic.
Okay.
Why am I still using this? I should be using my hammer. After I stab her, like, twice, I'm like, wait a minute, what am I holding here? What? Aw, man. It's like kind of that thing where you realize that you put your car keys in the fridge next to the milk, like, why?
Yeah.
Well, silly me. How did that even happen? And then I'm gonna fly and get above her.
Okay.
Just use my movement to traverse the Z-axis and get above her and buffet her with my force.
Okay.
And now for my dragon. The dragon just crit.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Cool.
So 10.
Cool.
10 piercing on its first. And then 15 to hit.
No, 15 misses.
Okay, and then dex save, please.
Okay. Passes. Like 25.
That's okay. Gonna do still some radiant damage. Whatever half of 9 is radiant damage.
Okay. 4. Okay. The dragon roars, still kind of like all up there in her face as Regin has now taken a position above. Finn, that is your turn.
Okay, so Finn is a little panicked. He just saw Malachi go down. The adventurer is being very intimidating. So he reaches into the folds of his cloak and pulls out the final remaining espresso potion that he still has. And is just going to lean down to Malachi, pop the cork, and stuff it in his mouth.
Has to lift him by the back of his hair, by his hair from where he slumped over the griffin's head.
I tip Malachi back.
Yeah.
And pour it in like I'm bottle feeding a baby.
Yeah. You take this potion that was created in the adventurer's own labs and use it to...
Really appreciate this, by the way. Thanks.
I didn't create that.
Yeah, we know. You don't create shit.
Hi, you walked right into that one. Welcome back, Malachi.
Oh, hey.
Malachi's like barely conscious, already saying snarky things. Yeah, so Malachi, you can go ahead and take a short rest right now. So...
Malachi briefly expects to be splattered on the ground.
Yeah, and you still have your bonus action, Finn, if you'd like it.
And for my bonus action, I bring back my tentacle again. And it hits the adventurer, hopefully. Oh yeah, 23.
Nice.
And 5 cold damage. You feel that? That's the ice of the depths. You know how cold it is at the bottom of the ocean?
How cold is it?
Yeah, actually, do you want to tell me? I don't know that number off the top of my head.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know because you've never been to the bottom of the ocean because you can't handle it.
Yeah, I just don't want to.
Oh, come on, everyone wants to go to the bottom of the ocean.
She looks at the just coming to consciousness Malachi and is like, everyone wants to go to the bottom of the ocean?
Malachi points to the seaweed on his armor.
Okay, brilliant. That will be Malachi's turn. Actually, she'll take a legendary action in between. She's going to look... I actually think she's going to look up at Regin, and her eyes start blazing again as she looks up at you there. Please make a wisdom saving throw for me.
Alright, 17.
Cool. You fail, so you take 21 fire damage, Regin.
Okay.
And would you make a concentration save for me for your dragon, please?
Ooh, we rolled a 3.
Oof. But I think you do just barely squeak by because you had a +7, and 21 halved is just 10, so that sets the DC at 10. So you just barely, the dragon's form like flickers for a second, but you manage to hold on to it.
Nice.
Beautiful, beautiful. That is now Malachi's turn, whenever you're ready.
Yeah. As Finn finishes tipping this potion down my throat, I choke a little bit at first, and then I realize what's happening. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, fuck yeah. And Malachi slams the rest of it back, and he looks pretty damn good after that. Malachi is back up with 122 hit points.
Wow!
So, shakes it off a little bit, reorients himself to the land of the living, and looks at Finn and fucking, like, hugs him right there on the battlefield.
Aww.
Thanks.
When you pull away from the hug, like, your entire torso is wet.
Oh. I guess that's what armor is for. Alright. Hug Finn, pat the griffin, and then go straight up for that bitch. Did she notice me wake up, I assume?
This dragon is very distracting. It's this, like, glowing thing right in front of her, and then she also is trying to set Regin on fire, so she was sort of, her attention was taken by that and diverted away from Finn a little bit as he went over to your unconscious form.
So then Malachi's gonna then take this opportunity to zoom up behind and try and chop her wings off.
Ooh, cool.
Let's hope so. Let's do a, blinding smite again, I guess. Does a 21 still hit? Or, I'm sorry, not a 21, a 20.
20 unfortunately misses. Good job you found the armor class, but a 20 unfortunately does not hit.
Fuck. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Watch, I'm gonna crit on this one.
I believe in you. Did you really?
I did!
Oh my god!
Beautiful! Oh my god!
I really thought you were gonna roll a 1.
Nothing better than a cold crit. I did too.
Oh god, can you fucking imagine?
I was like, she's jinxed herself, it's gonna be a 1.
Wow, fuck yeah, and I'm blinding smiting too, so this is gonna be a big one.
Yep.
Well, and you know, I might as well tack a normal divine onto that as well, so... I didn't quite break the threshold I'd hoped for, but it's still good. So yeah, Malachi almost drops his axe a little bit as he readjusts it in his grip, and then crits on this bitch's wings for 93 damage.
Jesus.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, Malachi, you soar up, and the wings are just like, they're made of a different stuff than you expected. It's all of these gears and wires kind of melded together with flesh and divine stuff. So the first hit just kind of glances off, and the adventurer notices you're there, but before she really has time to turn, she's like just starting to turn to face you. When you manage to get the second one, you run just like down the whole length of this wing. This massive gash. It doesn't quite tear off, but it very nearly does in this just kind of like spray of light and blood and mechanical parts that go flying everywhere. Her flying becomes a little crooked. You see she's sort of like stumbling through the air now, and she actually lets out, for the first time this battle, actually lets out a cry of pain as she now whirls to face you.
You gotta stop turning your back on us.
Cool. That is her turn.
Oh, she has to save against blinding smite.
Oh, she does. You're right. She fails. I'm thinking about the legendary resistance. She'll use it. She'll use her last legendary resistance.
Ho ho!
She does get a turn, though. She whirls around, like, looks Malachi directly in the eyes, and is going to attack Finn.
Ah!
She sees you, and you can see that, like, her instinct is to come swinging back on you, and then she, like, assesses, sees that Finn is more injured, and that you look fine, and that Finn is right there, and she's just going to attack him.
What?
Finn, that's like a 24 to hit.
Okay.
Okay, so 17 slashing, and then actually only 16 force.
I am gonna have that damage with my tentacle.
Okay.
Alright, I'm gonna intercept the hit, and I rolled a 10 again! Holy shit! So, subtract 15 from whatever.
Okay, so
Okay.
goes to 16 and then minus 15, so you actually end up with only 1 from that.
Ow, I guess?
She goes to cut down Finn, and I say, look at me. Not him.
She just, like, she gets stopped by the tentacle and the axe again, and then just kind of brushes both aside and is gonna take her second attack also on Finn. And just goes, get out of the way. Wow, rolls the exact same thing, so another 24. This time 14 slashing, but 19 force.
I'm still up?
Wow.
Oh, what are you at, Andy?
I have 3 HP left.
Hell yeah!
Beautiful.
Was that... was that supposed... Oh my god. Oh, was that supposed to hurt? Supposed to hurt?
He's fine.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, he looks great.
Better than you.
Finn coughs up some seawater.
Those are gonna be giant shrimp later.
Andy, do you want Nurgle to do anything?
Finn gives a very weak thumbs up to Nurgle.
Ah! Cool. The cubes are gonna act. They're gonna whir around. The golden one is going to go up and go after Regin. The silver one is going to go after Finn, and the black one will go after Malachi. Can I get a con save from Regin, a dex save from Finn, and a whiz save from Malachi?
21.
18 con.
16 on my dex.
Okay, that does save. They keep shooting out these like magic things at you, but you're all managing to evade them. Okay, I'm gonna take a legendary action.
Wish you wouldn't.
She's just gonna use her legendary action teleport to get out of being in the middle of all of you.
Bitch.
Fine by me.
Because she does not like that she's got the dragon on one side, Regin directly above, and these two in melee with her. So she's just going to legendary action teleport, and she's just gonna go, like, she's gonna go 80 feet away. She goes further away from Luola, more out toward the open ocean. Cool. That's Regin's turn.
Heal self? Question mark?
Fire lightning bolt.
Okay.
Exclamation point. Upcast, 4th level.
Oh, beautiful.
Dexterity save, please.
Yep. Ooh, I think that fails. 15.
It totally fails. Jesus shit, roll. 27.
Okay.
But she does take all of it.
Yep, she does.
And I will fly 45 feet towards her.
Okay.
Because I think running is a bitch move.
Cool. Dragon?
Yeah, I forgot about that guy. Oh, actually, he isn't even...
He actually, I don't think he can get there. Yeah.
Yeah, he can't. Yeah, he'll fly 60 feet and then use his breath weapon. He can't use his multi-attack, but he can use his breath weapon. So another dex save.
25.
Sure. And 3 radiant damage.
Cool. So Regin, like, sends out this blast of lightning and then starts flying toward where the adventurer has retreated to. The dragon comes flying right after you and breathes out this blast of light from its mouth. The adventurer is going to legendary action fireball Regin and the dragon. So I need dexterity saving throws from both of you.
Oh god, Regin doesn't have any polymorph snails in his pockets, does he?
22 for me. Ooh, dragon rolled a 2, comes to a 10.
Cool. Regin passes, dragon fails, so the dragon takes 24 fire damage, Regin takes 12 fire damage.
Okay.
Okay, that's Finn's turn.
Okay, so she teleported up, right?
No, she teleported away, the same height, but 80 feet away.
Okay, so I see her teleport away, and I may be very, very wounded, but I smell some blood in the water that's not mine, too. It's hers. And I look around, I see these cubes floating around us, and I smack my forehead, and I'm like, wait a second!
Oh, true!
And I start going through my pockets and pulling out cubes, heaping them up in my arms. And, Hannah, How much damage can a Eldritch Blast boosted by like a dozen cubes do?
Oh my god. I will have you make an Arcana check, and then we're just gonna... Eldritch Blast is a D10, right?
Yeah.
So it'll just be like a number of D10s. Hold on, I'm doing the math in my head. Okay, I will say, beat a DC 15, and it's 5d10. Beat a DC 20, and it's 7d10. And if you crit, it can be a 10d10.
Per blast?
Yes, but you also have to make a charisma saving throw per blast.
Okay. 22 Arcana?
Okay. So that'll get you 7d10 per blast, but you also need to make a charisma saving throw.
Oh my god. Okay, so Finn is drawing on these cubes, as he's done a few times before, but never in so frail a physical state. And he just feels the power coursing through him, and it's different than Lurker power, but it's got some similarities. And I want to say that the cubes are all just orbiting Finn, like they're all spinning in circles around him as he's floating there.
Oh yeah.
And he reaches out his one hand towards the adventurer, then with the other hand reaches up, grabs a cube as it whizzes past him, and gives it a big lick. And then fires. And Nurgle is going to help me.
Oh yeah, that's fine. He only helps you with one, remember. Did you crit?
I did!
Yeah.
When Nurgle gave me advantage, turning a nat 1 into a nat 20.
Oh my god!
Okay, so that's 27, nat 20, and 15 to hit.
Jesus.
Okay. So let's do the 27 first, because I'm gonna ask you to make a saving throw per blast.
Okay.
So, let's deal with the 27 first. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Okay, and that's 7d10, yes?
Jesus
Yeah.
fucking Christ.
Oh, goody.
Yippee!
And you guys see, as I fire these blasts, they are way, way bigger than they usually are. Usually they're these, like, fist-sized bolts of energy, but I'm firing out an aquamarine blast that's as big as me.
That's new. Did he just lick that cube? Do you think I'll get anything cool for having licked her blood?
You've already licked so many cubes. Surely it would have happened by now.
Damn.
Also, that's gross.
It felt like a power move.
Okay, 47 force damage on my first blast.
Okay. Beautiful. Make a charisma saving throw for me, please.
Okay. Do I get aura?
Yeah.
29.
Yeah, that's fine. You managed to keep holding on to the cubes, not getting overwhelmed by the amount of power coursing through you. Yeah, so go ahead and do the damage for the crit, which is 14d10.
Oh my god! Finn fires his second blast. It's pulsing and glowing way more than it usually does, and he shouts at the top of his lungs, "I'll admit, this one was actually your idea to begin with! But it was a really fucking good one!" As he deals 86 force damage on this second Eldritch Blast.
Holy shit. Okay.
She's gotta be close, if not.
She's very close. You can see that one slams into her, and she, actually, gets knocked prone in the air.
Hell yeah.
She kind of goes, stumbling back as this dragon is bearing down on her, Regin's bearing down on her, and then the two of you kind of behind. Finn, make another charisma saving throw for me.
21 on the save.
A 21 unfortunately does not do it. So, Finn, you
immediately go mad with power.
Oh, not this again.
You feel Malachi, you're right next to him. You hear, Finn start, speaking in tongues like he does. And you see his eyes go black, except instead of, when it's the lurker, where the black reminds you of the depths of the sea, now it almost looks like space. There's all these other colors, swirling around in there.
That's not good.
Finn, you take 20 psychic damage, which drops you to 0, then you pop back up from Death Ward.
And he's normal again.
He had a hard reset. We factory reset Finn.
You hard reset Finn, which is what happens. He briefly drops out. Finn, you are briefly seeing all possibilities of the universe. It completely overwhelmed your mind. You dropped to 0, and then you felt Malachi's spell, these crystals that have been around you, shatter and bring you back up, like a defibrillator, kind of.
Oh good, he's normal now.
As the visions clear from Finn's head, Malachi, you hear him whisper, "Not wet enough."
What? Alright, maybe not normal, but he's Finn again.
Yeah. And here's what I'll say, Finn. You cannot fire another of the supercharged Eldritch Blasts, but if you want, you can fire a normal one.
Okay.
Because you've still got the third.
I will. Do I re-roll for that because I died, or does the previous rolls just stand?
I say keep the 15.
Okay, so I got a 15 on that last one, but I'm going to use Ben's Bardic Inspiration
Oh yeah.
to try to hit.
It's a D10. You guys know her armor class is 21, so you need to roll a 6 or higher on the D10.
That's a 7.
Thanks, Ben.
Finn, you remember that slightly baffling last moment, that last little salute, and whatever it might have meant, the sort of indication that maybe you did have this victory in the bag. Your Eldritch Blast strikes true. Go ahead and roll damage for me.
Finn whispers, "This should make for a good story," and fires that final normal Eldritch Blast, but he's still got some residual magic. There's still cubes floating around him, so it does hit for 15 force damage.
Cool. Regin, you're the one who's close enough to see as you're, like, streaking through the air toward the adventurer, your hammer up, ready to finish this. You can tell she's running because she's on her last legs. Malachi and Finn are just, like, a little ways behind. The griffin kind of starting to fly forward to get Malachi where he needs to be, as Finn just kind of, like, rises up above them and fires these 3 blasts. The 2 massive arcane supercharged ones, and then this third one, which is just a normal Eldritch Blast, like the one that you've seen Finn fire dozens of times before, goes streaking past your head, Regin. You watch as it hits the adventurer kind of, like, right in the center of her forehead.
Whoa, he's opening her third eye.
And her head, like, snaps back. And there is, like, a moment where she just kind of, like, hangs there in the air. And then you see that all of the wounds that you guys have opened on her thus far this battle start just pouring more and more blood. And Regin, you can see that the godly ichor almost gets washed away and is just replaced by this normal human blood as her body just, like, almost falls apart as she falls with these clockwork wings trailing up behind her. The one that Malachi had slashed into finally separates and kind of goes, like, floating up almost above her as she, with a look of surprise above all else on her face, falls into the ocean 200 feet below. Congratulations.
Wow.
Can I tuck my wings and dive and catch any significant parts of her? Because I want to loot her corpse.
Yeah, you can grab that wing for sure.
Gross.
If you want to loot her corpse, you're gonna have to go into the water, but I mean the shrimp, you're gonna have to get there before the shrimps do, basically.
Oh yeah, and they are feasting on the fallen.
Alright, in that case, I'll snag the severed wing as I kind of pull up short.
Nice.
And Finn floats there staring, is like,
Quick, throw some water over his gills.
"The ocean will not be constrained. Disrespect it at your peril!" He just shouts into the sky.
Yeah. the adventurer falls, you see that, like, below you, attention was gotten from everyone who was still on these ships and on the shore. The adventurer's golden sphere did a very good job of making sure that all eyes were on you, which means that all eyes are on her as she's cut down, and as the three of you, and this dragon, and this griffin, and Nurgle, stand victorious, or fly victorious, above the seas. And I think that's where we will end our session for tonight. Woof.
Oh. Oh my god. Oh, wow.
Good job, everybody.
Oh, I'm buzzing. Oh, I feel 100 feet tall.
Okay. Thank you so much for listening to this penultimate episode of Ship of Fools. We are so happy that you have joined us on this voyage so far, and so excited for you to get to hear the conclusion in 2 weeks' time. Until then, you can follow us on our social medias. We are at Ship of Fools Cast on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. Be sure to keep an eye on them and on our Patreon page for some possible end-of-campaign announcements coming up. Our Patreon page is patreon.com/shipoffools, so feel free to sail on over there if you want to support our content and get access to our bonus content here in the end game, our last couple of mud baths, as we discuss the way that the finale of the campaign is going. We have a couple people we need to thank. Thank you to Theo Golden for our logo art. You can find him at tgoldenart on Instagram. Thank you to Lucas Mangold for our theme music. You can email him at lucascarlmusic@gmail.com if you feel so inclined. And we will be back with the finale of Ship of Fools on September 5th. And until then, we will see you on the open seas. Bye!
Finn floats there staring, is like, I'm panting while I think of a cool thing to say.
Okay, I was like, is this part of the thing, or is this...
Oh my god.
So that's the deal with airline food.
I don't get it.
There was nothing to get.